this is Connie again, and today on the blog with me, I've got Lindsey Skeuse.
Hello.
And she's an awesome photographer, so I was really excited to have her here with us and ask her some questions, and then we'll play with some photos later, which is really exciting.
Can't wait.
So Lindsey, why did you get into photography?
I started when I was very young with film, and then my parents got me my first DSLR when I want to say it was 2012, and then we went on some trips, and kind of from there took off. I started taking pictures for anybody I could, and here we are.
Awesome.
Yeah, and just got really into it, got into the equine part of it, and it just kind of took off, and here I am.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you said you started with film. Do you still use film at all?
No, I don't, and I would really love to get back into film because I think it's such a great part of photography that a lot of people don't explore anymore. And it's very raw and real, and I would love to get back into it someday.
Nice.
So hopefully I will.
Yeah. So you got into equine photography because you're also an equestrian. So tell me more about what you think it takes to be a good equine photographer.
I thought long and hard about this because I feel like there are so many aspects to it, but I think the number one thing is patience. Because a lot of times owners will come in and they immediately think like, okay, this is how I want it. They have a timeline for themselves right away in their horse, and of course horses are never on our timeline.
Right.
So a lot of it is patience. Switching out horses if we have to. If horses get too excited, then I'll usually say, why don't we let them go back in, take a break, bring another horse out if we're doing another horse, or everybody just take a break.
Yeah.
Usually when I start a shoot with an equestrian, I'll just go for a walk and talk with them for a while, get to know them, make sure, because everybody is just nerves. And
Yeah.
So I think it's really easy for people to just become very nervous at first and not know what to expect, but I've noticed that if I just go for a walk, take it easy, then everybody just kind of unfolds from there.
And that answered another one of my questions, because I'm always thinking about safety and concerns about what may happen out there. So
Sure.
Being able to calm down the horse and the rider is a really great tactic, especially when you're working with them as your main subject.
Yes, absolutely, because if you're nervous and your horse senses you're nervous, then it just creates a bad environment. I also learned that putting a time on a shoot is just not the way to go about things. I used to put like an hour time slot on shoots, and then you would see in the person's photo, like, I have 5 minutes left. Like, they would know that they have 5 minutes left, and they would be very nervous. So I finally was like, we're done. Like, take however long you want. Let's make this an experience. I want to experience it with you. I want you to I'm basically just your third wheel. So,
Nice.
yeah.
That's awesome.
I think it's good to capture that emotion with them.
Nice.
So,
what is your most frequently asked question from your clients?
during a shoot or before, or...
Both?
Both?
Yeah.
Okay. I would say before a shoot, it's what do I wear? That is the most common question. And I always tell them neutral colors. If it's a couple shoot, I always say one person, if they want to wear a pattern or anything, then the other person should wear a solid color.
Okay.
But I always try to go with earthy tones. It just makes for a better photo. And then I would say the next common question during a shoot is, what do we do?
Yeah.
Now,
do I vote?
yeah, where do I go? How do I look? Do I look at you all the time? So usually, but that's just, I think that comes off of just nerves, and people just get nervous. And so again, I go with my standard, and we just go for a walk. And
Nice.
that always usually
Just shake it off.
jiggle it out, work it out, and everybody's happy after that. And
Nice.
I started playing music during my shoots, and that has really helped. Usually, if somebody likes a playlist, or they'll bring me a playlist
cool.
or
I never thought about that.
something, and it helps. It was a game changer when I started doing it. I was like,
Yeah.
never not gonna do this ever again. This is amazing. So
so cool.
I put a little speaker on my belt loop, and
Nice.
just play Spotify, or they hook up to it and they
Cool.
play their own, and that just made such a big difference.
So you add technology with making your playlists portable. You make yourself a portable speaker, which is great. But how do you keep up with like the changing technology of cameras and editing platforms and things like that?
So, you know, I think I've always shot with Canon. I haven't really shot with any other cameras, but Canon just came out with their new Mark IV. I shoot with a Mark III, and it does the job for me. So if maybe someday I'll move up to that. Or Canon just came out with a new mirrorless camera. So I could move to that someday, but I'm just happy with what I have now.
They look great.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I stick to 3 main lenses. A 35 millimeter is my favorite lens, my go-to lens all the time. But yeah, I just got a second Canon body, so I'll have dual cameras now, which will be very helpful in shoots, and it'll be nice not to switch out constantly.
Yeah.
And but honestly, what I can say is if you're happy with your equipment, then just stick with it. Because if you change it, then you're just fighting yourself on it. Because you're just if you're happy with it, just stay with it. Because it's so not worth going through all of that if you're happy with it in the first place.
However many grand on a new camera.
It's like, cool, I spent $4,000 and I have no idea what I'm doing.
It's really about the skill of the photographer in the end. It's not. A new camera's not going to instantly make an amateur photographer better.
No. And that is, I think, one of the things that I learned from a lot of other photographers, and I learned quickly myself, is it's not about your equipment. It's not about where you take your photos. It's about what you feel with that person. And I always think like it's about the connection you have with your person that you're taking a photo of, your couple. That's why I always say it's so important to get to know them before your shoot. I always send questions because I genuinely want to know what they're about. I want to know who they are. I'm interested to see what their life is about. And that way, when you meet them, it's like you've been talking for a long time, and it's important. I think it's important to get to know them first. That way it's not robotic, and you don't feel like, oh, I guess I have to do this pose or take this picture.
Yeah, like a school yearbook photo.
Yeah.
No one likes
those. Thank you. Get out of here. Yeah.
Well, I love that approach, though, because it's having that chemistry with the person behind the camera is really important, and that's how the best photographers get the best pictures.
Yes, so I agree. I think it's so important, and I can't stress it enough for new photographers that are coming out. It is so important to just hop on a Skype call or send a bunch of questions through email or get on the phone and I always offer that with all of my clients. I always offer if you want to get on a Skype call or if you want to meet up and have coffee if they're close by.
Nice.
It's so good to get that connection with them and feel as though, it's when you go to the shoot, it's just a friend coming out there to take your photo.
Okay, so we got some questions from Instagram that got sent in. So go ahead. I gave you a few.
Read them off these
pages.
So the first question is tips for beginning photographers. I would say shoot whatever you can, whenever you can, as often as you can. It's so important to just get out there and do as much as different things as you can. Offer shoots to people. That's what I did. I was like, hey, you're engaged. Let me take your pictures. Even if they already had engagement photos done, I think it's so important to get out there and do those things. And, you'll look back on them someday and be like, wow, what was I thinking? Or, I do that to myself all the time. Like, why did I take that photo like that? But that's how you learn. And another thing is go to workshops. I've done online workshops. I did an online mentorship. Those things are so important. There's so much now on the internet that there's so many resources for you to work off of to become a great photographer. And also, also believing in yourself that you can be a good photographer too. And practice, and don't force things. Forcing things only leads to awkward photos, I've learned. Try to be, as open to any idea. If somebody has an idea that you're photographing and they have an idea of what they want to do, be completely open with it. give suggestions. Just always try to use your best judgment for that. But and also make sure that you are not being scammed by anybody.
Yeah.
That's a big one.
Were you scammed at some point in time?
I wasn't, but I've seen horror stories of people getting scammed through workshops. If you're applying a preset to your photos, I use presets for my photos just to help with the editing process. Another tip that I can say is when you're editing is to make sure all your photos are consistent tone. So more often than not, I see, and I did it too, where you edit a photo and then you go to your next photo and you edit it a completely different way and the tones and textures are completely different. So when you give it to your client's gonna be like, why do these photos look so different from one another? You wanna make sure your photos are just flowing really nicely. That's a big tip. I have a lot of tips for doing this because I've learned so much over the years, and I've made a lot of mistakes and learned from them, as will new beginning photographers. Gear. I am a Canon person, but you can shoot with whatever you want, whatever works best for you. But make sure you have reliable gear. Favorite lens. 35 millimeter is my favorite. I actually use a Sigma Art 1.4 35 millimeter, and I like it a lot. I think I will eventually switch over to a Canon 35 millimeter just because I used one once and it was amazing, and it was kind of a game changer. But the Sigma is amazing. Sigma makes a really great lens. And then my other favorite, I have a Canon 85 millimeter, and I love that lens as well. And then for a zoom lens, I use a Canon 70-200, and that is also a very wonderful lens, especially for weddings, because you don't want to be up in people's business.
That's a good point.
So it's great to zoom in. Yeah. Great lens.
Nice.
Favorite subject to shoot? I would say that I don't necessarily have a favorite. I like them all for individual reasons. I like weddings because the emotion is very real at weddings. Everybody's very happy for the most part. And they really don't pay any attention to the photographer, which is kind of nice because you're capturing so much that is completely unnoticed. And when they get their photos back, they're like, when did you take this? When were you there? Or,
I'm
you know,
a ninja.
Yeah, I sneak around, you know. But it's so nice, and I think also there's so much love on that day between two people, and their families are there, the music is good, the food's good, and everybody's just happy, and I love that about weddings. Couples, I really love getting to know my couples. Actually, a lot of them have turned into friends for me, which is great. And I think, capturing their love is just as much fun as a wedding, because most of the time they're engagement photos. So you can just see they're so excited to get married, and they're so excited to be with each other, and that's really important for me. And also getting to know them beforehand. And horses, I just love them. I just love horses anyway. Anyway,
like
I can take.
Photogenic thing ever.
They are. They're just amazing. And even when I have horses that just keep their ears back the whole time, I'm like, it's okay. We'll eventually get them forward. But I think what I really love about equestrian photography is I've always gone for like a really emotional bond between horse and rider, because most people have a big story to tell of their horse and where they've been. And like Lindsey, Porter and Dexter have been through a lot together. And so it was really great to capture their bond, and a lot of other people too. I mean, they've had these horses for a long time, or they just got them, or they remind them of a past horse, or just a lot of emotion going into that photo. And I think it's just really cool to capture that for other people. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming
thank
here,
you.
driving through the snow to get to my house.
It's okay.
Colorado, what can you do?
Yeah, it's the most bipolar state in the world.
It's true.
In the country, sorry.
So I highly recommend looking up Lindsey's photography account and her personal account, either one. So it's Lindsey K.
Lindsey K.
dot photo. on Instagram.
And my website is coming soon. I'm being picky.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Yeah, awesome.
Yay.
Well, thank you
Thanks
so much.
so much.
So what's your favorite?
Do we need to cut it?
No, it's okay. Hold on.
Yeah.
I wasn't picking my
Okay.
nose in case you were wondering. Like, don't do that in public.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. I think
Really?
You should put your phone on silent.
I didn't.
Hello?